Hi, everybody. So I wasn't actually planning on doing a video today, but as I was just doing some video prep, kind of trying to figure out what I'm doing for the next one, I decided, might as well just go with it and see what happens. um, so I guess what I was pondering, thought about is like, okay, um, I feel like there's probably a lot of people like myself who um, might be interested in starting like a food business or a catering company or something related to the food industry, but doesn't really know where to start or what to do with it. Uh, there are a lot of rules and regulations and stuff in there, and it's hard to know exactly uh, where to start or how to get going. Um, yeah, so I thought I would talk a little bit about uh, I guess how I got going and how I would recommend not doing it. uh, so, well, I guess the main thing is like what I wish I had done right from the get go, which would have saved me probably a lot of headaches and frustrations, is if I maybe asked God first what I should do. um, Cause yeah, I had, like I've kind of touched on in some of my other videos, I had had so many different plans. I feel like I had a general idea of the big picture, but it was just like there was just so many variations of kind of the same thing that I was trying to figure out, and I just had too many things on the go, so indecisive. So one thing that I came across more recently that I like, there was definitely felt like it was a godsend. It was I stumbled upon across this lady. I think her name was Stephanie Gass. I would highly recommend looking her up. She's on YouTube, does podcasts, and she did a whole video on having a business meeting with God. I watched that, and that was very helpful. So I would recommend looking her up because she would definitely has a lot of valuable insights. Um, and so one thing that she pointed out that I thought was very helpful, and I wish I had this like 10 years ago, was like, is this your calling? What's your calling? Um, is this what you feel called? Is this a good idea or is it a God idea? um, and she goes over a lot of that in more in detail, but I'll just give you some brushstrokes um, to how to know it's a God idea. Is it a persistent idea? Is it one that's been just nagging at you, that no matter how many times you've tried to let go of it or lay it down, walk away from it, does it keep coming back? Um, is that something that just keeps coming back? Is it persistent? Um, One other kind of sign is like, will it help others more than it will help you? That's a good indicator. Or even more so, I think, would be, what has God equipped you for? So that could be like, your skills. What are the things that, you've been honing over the years? It's your giftings. Yeah, I recommend taking like some of those gifting tests. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there's, things like, what are you good at? What's your temperament? Like, are you like patient? Like, are you very organized and planned? Like, um, yeah, just like what are some of the things like, for me, I got really confused for a while because I was just like, okay, I got the music thing, I got the cooking thing, like, and then started to wonder, I'm like, am I missing? There's something? Is there something else that I'm supposed to be doing? Which turns out, I guess I was supposed to also be doing this podcast, or not podcast, YouTube. That one came out of left field. Anyways, yeah, like what are the things in your life that like you've been working on that just kind of uh, often when you kind of look back, you can kind of see like a thread, that of things. Anyways, so I find having that business meeting with God, um, first and foremost, I think would be very helpful in helping you decide if this is something you want to do. And so let's assume that yes, this is what you want to do. You want to do something in food, maybe baking or whatever. I can mostly speak to starting, um, so, I guess coffee shop. That was kind of my thing. That kept sticking around, and all my plans is coffee shop, bakery type setting. Um, and that, I mean, that's kind of the core thing that kept going on through all of my various business plans that I had. It always had that component, even though there was like other things that were kind of sprinkled in there. Like, I don't know, one was like, had a, kind of like a, mall complex thing that I own, the property, multi-use property. And then there was like a bunch of different rentable shops. And then there was like, one of them, I would have my coffee shop there, but then I would rent out other space, and there was like a community garden and, all these things. But anyways, the main one was the coffee shop bakery thing, which I haven't got there yet. But that's what I'm working towards. And yeah, so part of what happened for me is I felt God gave me kind of the big picture plan first. The end goal, the larger thing, the thing that might and does feel like it's way out of reach. um, so that's what I got first, the idea, and at different times. And, God gave me it in different pieces, like over the years. Took me a long time to kind of hone in what the plan was or what the idea was. And yeah, God gave it to me in kind of stages. But so sometimes I guess he doesn't always give the details right away. And you might need to work backwards a bit and be very flexible in your plan. Be very flexible. So, but yeah, I'll get into some more of the practical things. And I'll probably do a few videos about some of the practical things, like probably do a video on pricing. How do you charge for your stuff? I did spend many years undercharging and not charging what I should for my products. Yeah, that'll be a whole other video. Anyways, so yeah, step one, talk to God. Ask him what you should do with this idea. Is this something you should pursue? And yeah, get his input. Ask him what you should be doing, and he'll let you know. Step two. So say you get your confirmation from God. Maybe he's even given you a whole bunch of ideas or things. And I would then start to research. Do your homework. Like, what are the rules in your area? So things have been changing a bit now. The federal government has made it easier for you to start a home business. So if you have money to sink into building yourself a kitchen or starting a coffee shop and stuff, great. If you have that in your background, sure, go for it if you have the money and the skill set. I never had the money to do that, so I've had to try and figure out how to go about starting something. And I had to learn a lot of things too. So one of my um, big points, I'm kind of skipping ahead a bit, is start small. You don't need to jump right into uh, the big dream. You don't need to go full steam into renting space, setting up coffee, setting up your kitchen, setting up. You don't need to do all of that. You can. They made it a lot easier now. You can start small. You can start from home. Look up what the rules are. So for Stratford, because each area is a bit different. Stratford was different than Lucan or London. That's kind of my area now. Kingston, all different kind of rules. Some of them are more or less the same, but so what I couldn't do in Lucan, I can now do in Stratford. Oddly enough, even though the federal government passed a law that to make it a bit easier to set up at home. So yeah, contact your local health department, and they have a whole bunch of resources that they can send you detailed for your area. It's important to look at kind of the zoning of your house, your residential. So sometimes checking in with the city, just to make sure that you meet kind of the basic requirements. But I mean, at least in the Stratford area, you can get your home kitchen registered. Um, However, in order to do that, you need to be careful what you're selling. So you wouldn't really be able, unless you have a fully licensed kitchen, you wouldn't be able to do things like with meat, I don't think, or anything that needs to be refrigerated. For example, so I'm more in the dessert world, so I wouldn't be able to do like cheesecakes or any cream pies or anything like that. Wouldn't be able to do those things because that would require refrigeration. However, since I'm also renting a kitchen, kind of actually bartering with Lynn River Farm. They have a fully licensed kitchen. They're all equipped and everything. So I'm able to use their space to do some things. So I have a more full menu because of that. But you can start with stuff like cookies or a lot of cakes. And a lot of cakes you would be able to do, like especially with buttercream. That's fine to sit out. And yeah, so you can start small. You don't have to go full out. And I would highly recommend starting small, just to grow slow and make sure that you do your homework. One thing that's part of that, like, you're going to need to figure out what your menu is. So that'll highly depend on what your picture is. But okay, for me, I guess that's the easiest way to give examples. Is it took me a long time to narrow down my menu because I would do everything, all the sorts of things. I love to do a variety of things. It took me a long time to get to a place where I felt and ironically, ChatGPT helped me narrow a lot of this down. It's a helpful tool, especially and with pricing and stuff too. ChatGPT has been very helpful for me to like figure this out because I ended up my menu was way too big, and all over the place. So what I ended up doing was, because I switched gears into doing wholesale, so selling to other businesses and in bulk. I still have kind of a retail menu, mostly doing assorted dessert platters, especially around the holidays. I'll sell a bunch of those. And I still do cakes, custom cakes for people. So I still do some of that, but my main thing right now is wholesale, which meant I had to really narrow down my menu. I had to think about production, what was easy to scale up. It was production, to make it worth my time to do. Because one thing that you don't really think about is if you take too long to make something and you're not charging properly, or if you're not sticking to your timelines, you're going to end up not making any money. You're just going to break even, or lose money. There's some things that just don't make sense to sell, some things that don't make sense to sell wholesale. Like, I had narrowed down my menu quite a bit and picked some of my, best recipes, things that, over the years I thought people really liked and had been selling for a long time. And then one thing that I realized after kind of, I had found this free online software that you can plug in your recipes and your ingredients, and it'll, tell you what your base cost is. It just tells you kind of your ingredients cost per recipe. That's important to know, what it costs you to make that. And then you also have to factor in your time, how much you're making, how much you're going to pay yourself per hour, or better yet, like if you go to end up having employees, you have to work that into the pricing for your products. So there's that, but then there's you have to think about your overhead. Even from at home, you want to add in stuff for your utilities and packaging. Packaging is another one, how you're going to present your products. You need to work all of that into your pricing. And one item that I had on my menu, that I thought, oh, these are delicious, everybody loves them, Hello Dolly's, classic coconut square, so yummy. But I realized, after doing my homework and doing the pricing and then consulting with Chat about like maybe markup, because some of that I'm just like, I don't even know what's appropriate, because like what I would pay for something in the store is not, I think, what is accurate for most people, just because I can make stuff. So I just like, well, that seems way too expensive, but there is a market value out there that's probably more than what I would maybe pay for something, because I can make a lot of things. So anyway, so I don't want, that's, I think, partially why I undercharged for so many years. And also just like not having confidence in myself and not knowing what I was worth. Like all of those things kind of play into it. But that's why Chat was helpful. Just to be like, no, this is what it actually is worth. Anyways, I'm rambling now. Kind of lost my train of thought, what I was talking about. Well, yeah, it's important to know. Oh yeah, sorry, now I'm lost myself again. Yeah, the Hello Dollies. I took them off the menu. I had to take them off the menu because they were too expensive to sell wholesale. It didn't make sense to sell them in like a retail setting. It was a bit different because things work out a bit differently. But yeah, for wholesale, it just didn't make sense. The ingredients were too expensive to make it sense to sell at a wholesale price. I wasn't going to be like making money on them at all. And you don't want to be giving your stuff away for free. I mean, you could do some of that. There is a place, I think, for generosity, and I highly value that. But you also need to value your work and your time. And especially if you want to make this your job, and make enough to, to support your family and everything, you have to take that into consideration. And you're worth it, you deserve to be paid for your time and your efforts and your knowledge. And don't let people take advantage of you. I've trust me when I say that. Okay, where do I go from there? Just looking at my notes here. I didn't really write anything out this time. Oh yeah, one thing I want to just backtrack a little bit. When you're in your kind of planning stages, because that's important to kind of plan and take some time to really think about what it is you want to do. You need to kind of map out what you need. So deciding on your menu is important, or at least what your wheelhouse is going to be. But then you also need to think about what kind of equipment you're going to need, what kind of setup you're going to need. You need to write out a rough business plan. And this is important for you just so that you can wrap your head around things. There are all sorts of free business plan templates online you can find. Or even, again, here I'm plugging ChatGPT. You can ask him for rough outlines, and he can, here I am calling it a he. He can help you put together a plan. But it's important to do that and kind of consult with God, like what your core vision is, what you're about, what you're branding. You're going to need a logo, and to decide kind of like your color scheme, like what your packaging is going to look like. How are you going to store your products? Probably going to need some a dedicated freezer or a dedicated fridge. For your stuff, storage, dry storage, you're going to need somewhere to store your dry storage. Because even though you're allowed to bake from home now, if that's the route you're going, you still need to have some dedicated space for your business, and keep that kind of as separate as possible. Doing your books, you're going to need to, you can keep, kind of all your finances all together. You don't necessarily need to separate that yet. As you get bigger, you might want to, consider incorporating, but you can start as a sole proprietorship, which is just you, kind of there's no like legal protection there. It's just like all you. Here I go, losing my train of thought again. Yeah, you're gonna need some dedicated space. Your bookkeeping. There we go. I was talking about that. You need to keep your records, keep your receipts. I just kind of have a simple Excel sheet that I use, and I'll track I'll keep all my go through all my receipts and put what I spent on like groceries, or on packaging, on marketing, or like my stickers. Like I have these logo stickers, business cards. You want to document all of those things because you are going to need to claim all of your income on your taxes. And there is forms on there for being self-employed, and they're going to want to know what you've spent on ingredients, what you've spent on equipment, or packaging, or what portion of your house are you going to claim? Because you can claim a percentage of your home expenses, like utilities, and we even claim like a room in your house if you have, there's things that you can claim on your taxes for that. And it's important to keep good records. And just to practice, even if you're small. Like for a long time, I didn't really, like, initially I didn't really do any of that because I was just making like cakes for friends and family and, the odd coworkers. But then as I started to kind of get more into the wholesale thing and get more kind of legit, I started keeping track, just to practice basic bookkeeping. And because it's important to know where your money is being spent. Because otherwise, it's very easy to your food costs like and waste to get away from you, and then you're not really making any money. You're just kind of, a lot of businesses fail because they don't rein in their food waste, or they keep track of their, you know they're undercharging. They don't know what their costs are, and then that's why a lot of businesses end up sinking in the first year, because they don't have a tight rein on their finances. They maybe started too fast, and kind of learned the lessons the hard way. And that's why I really think it's important to kind of start small, grow slowly, um, do your due diligence, and just ask God. Like, ask God what you should be focusing on. Ask God for input. Like, I wish I had done that more when I was starting. I really wish I did. Because I feel like I would have saved myself a lot of frustrations and headaches. And I mean, I learned a lot. I think he was really preparing me for what's coming. Like, I know that. But yeah, I think I would have saved myself a lot of headaches if I had maybe consulted him a bit more. And but yeah, so I think I'll probably just end this video here. It's starting to get kind of long, I guess. But I'm going to do more videos about just some of the practical things of starting a food business. And I want to document too, like, as my business grows. And I don't know, one day I'll probably have a space, like a dedicated space, maybe a shop one day. And I want to, I don't know, share all of that, share the process, share what I'm learning as I'm learning it too. Give you guys tips. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.